you're falling into the same trap.
Not at all. I would say BJP is a lot more discerning on this. They look at how they can fund it. If they can fund it to that extent, it is only that.
So you have actually amended your situation. You are not saying Revdi politics should be done away with. What you are saying is Revdi politics हम भी करेंगे, हम थोड़ा provision करके करेंगे, ये बिना provision. That's a change in position.
No. Revdi is when you give promises without any kind of backing. And it is just a, giveaway without even having an asset creation or without having any benefit towards the economy in terms of contribution.
2500 रुपए जो महिलाओं को दिल्ली में दे रहे हैं, कौन सा asset creation हो रहा है?
No, at least the home expenses are taken care of.
So that is not asset creation for the government.
But if you can afford it, no, that is at least consumption, right? So if you can afford it, give it. If you can't afford it, don't load it to the aane wale peediyan. Next generation debt.
में तो आने वाली पीढ़ियां
But it's a state which can generate enough resources for it.
Then why does it have so much debt?
For construction, for capital expenditure, like the way we do. For capital expenditure, Navika, since you go into details of economy, I'll say this.
Capital expenditure.
Just a minute. What is my fiscal deficit? For projected 25, 26, 4.4. Right? What is my number given for capital expenditure to the GDP? Fiscal deficit is deficit on the GDP. Now, what is my capital expenditure? Capital expenditure is 4.3% of my GDP. 4.4 for the fiscal deficit, 4.3 is this one. What does that mean? My borrowing, which is my fiscal deficit, goes for capital expenditure, asset creation. That's the way I'm going. And it's also the way in which I'm going so that my 26, 27 onwards, my focus will be on reducing debt to GDP. I'll keep an eye on my fiscal deficit, but debt to GDP, because there was a committee under N.K. Singh, long time back, which said your borrowing should come down to 50% at least. 60 for the central government, 40 for state governments, a different combination. I am committing myself, which I said in July budget, that I'll bring it down to 50% level by 2030. I've given a glide path for it. I've given a clear roadmap to say how I'm going to achieve that. So equally, there are measures being taken to make sure your debt position is improved. You're not going to burden the future generations, but if you're borrowing, you will borrow it for quality expenditure for creating assets. That's the principle with which
Mr. Chidambaram says all you need to do is get out of the way.
Which is what all of us have been. Who introduced this line? We will have red carpet for business and remove the red tape. Who brought in this where government should not be in business, we should be out of it? Who brought that in? Prime Minister Modi. Minimum government, maximum governance. Who said it? Prime Minister Modi. So what is the opposition speaking about it now?
But Mr. Chidambaram says because you are so much in the way that nothing really is getting done. How would you respond to him?
Assume that we were in the way. That is why we were able to lift the economy back to position from fragile 5. Our banks have been brought back to good health. Today, when he says that he should also look back as to what was wrong, they were everywhere. That is why the economy went down to bottom 5. There was policy paralysis. They were wiser at that time to do all that.
Let me ask you about the question that many people are asking, that you promised 11 lakh crores for capital investment. The revised estimates show that only 10 lakh crores was spent. You've again pegged it at 11.2 lakh crores. The question is that you might put it there, but actual capital investment is not taking place. Public expenditure is not taking place. The slowdown, signs of slowdown in the economy are there to see. All of this, does it worry you?
If I know the reason and say this, I'll be happy. I know the reason, I'll tell you. Elections happened in 24. Quarter 1 and quarter 2 suffered because of that, because administration couldn't push the capital expenditure allocations which have been given. Even in spite of the elections, even in spite of 2 quarters getting affected, in comparison to the target of 11.11, we've touched 10 at least. And we'll make up one more. You have a couple of days more, few days before the year ends. I mean, whole March is there. Despite that, we have said the coming year we will give 11.2. That's not a shortfall. That's not a reduction. It is still growing, right? Compared to the RE, it's 10.2% more.
You think the growth slowdown will be addressed?
Of course.
So you think it's a temporary blip? Are you still convinced?
Because elections had come in the way of regular government expenditure towards capital assets. Let's not forget that.
And it's reversible. So what do you peg the growth rate at?
2019, didn't we have the same kind of a conversation? There's no liquidity in the market. There's a liquidity shortage. Business is not able to expand. Didn't we correct that?